to another episode of Wait, cool. Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Broadcast from the McHugh-niverse. I am Jessica McHugh, novelist, poet, playwright, weirdo, smiley pie. Oh my god, my neck just cracked. Oh my god, if you could hear that, that would be amazing. A little gross. Thank you to everyone who liked, shared, commented, sent general, good, vibey, wonderful sugar thoughts to the first episode of Broadcast from the McHugh-niverse. I'm really not good at improv-y stuff. Much better with a pen. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying these, and I hope I can keep them entertaining for you without talking about sugar thoughts too much. Most of the questions I get in my day-to-day life are about writing, of course, but mostly about productivity, how to maintain it, how to multitask, and also where to submit. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit over the next couple episodes, but I really want to get into the nitty-gritty today with a segment I like to call Fuck the Block. So I want to preface this part real quick by stating that there are different types of writers. You have writers who just write for the fun of it, and journaling, getting out aggression. 2, you have people who want to sell stories and be published, but aren't really trying to become professionals at it. And 3, you have your professional or career writers that are trying to sell stories nonstop and novels, and pretty much spend their entire existence trying to make a name or a few bills in this business. As impossible as that sometimes seems. So the reason I wanted to throw out that preface there is I do get messages from people who will be a little bit snarky about my advice that you need to always be writing, that you need to write every day, and you really need to treat it as one of your top priorities, you know, depending on the other things you have going on in your life. And what I say to those people is you're not a career writer. If you're trying to be a career writer, don't argue with the advice that you need to be writing all the time, because you do need to be writing all the time. You need to make it a priority. And I understand there are way more important things than writing in people's lives. You have children, you have a day job, you have a husband or wife whose head fell off, and you've been meaning to sew it back on for days and you keep putting it off. Obviously, these things are way more important than writing, but there's also a balance that has to come to it. Obviously, there are career writers with children and decapitated husbands, and they have been able to make it work. And there are ways to make it work, and I would like to share some of those tips, and I do want to say these are not going to work for everybody. Much of the writing life is about trial and error and figuring out what works for you, but this is what works for me. Maybe you can give it a shot and see what happens. Number 1, the most important tip you can ever get for the right life is... Wait a minute, I need to bring in the McHugh singers for this one. Stop the healing in writer's block. Tell that imaginary excuse to suck your cock. Stop, please stop all your bullshit believing. The minute you sit down your pen, the terrorists will win. So stop. So this is the point where a lot of writers might call me a dick. And I guess you're not far off. A lot of people, when I tell them I don't believe in writer's block, they see it as some kind of personal insult. That I think I'm so special because I have TMIS, which is crazy in its own right, by the way. They think that because I have a different way of brainstorming ideas and writing, that their way is wrong. And no, I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm trying to say when someone uses writer's block as an excuse, they're selling themselves and their creativity short. Just because you are looking at the page of your current project and you can't think of the next thing to write, or you don't know where the story goes from there, doesn't mean that your ability to write has left you. It's just stuck at the moment. And the worst thing you can do is to just say, oh, I can't do this, go on the internet and be like, oh, fuck writer's block. Because the thing is, you just got on the internet and posted that you have writer's block, and those posts are made of letters, which make up words, which make up sentences, which is writing. You just wrote something and you could have been working your way through the block. There are ways to do it. You can either soldier through and, what you write might be crappy, but hopefully you'll get a glimmer of something beautiful that you can fix in editing. You guys, writing for the most part is done in editing. So really, soldier through. Or you can move on to something else. You can work on a character profile. A lot of times when we get stuck in writing, it's because we don't know our characters well enough. So you could write a character profile, just write a scene of dialogue to get to know your characters a little better. There are a lot of things you can do. But what you shouldn't do is surrender to the fear that you're not going to be able to write anything good. This is a business, and business doesn't wait for inspiration to hit. You have to make those words happen, and you need to trust in yourself that they will happen. So a lot of this stuff that I'm telling you guys, you're going to have to train yourself to do. I didn't always work on 8,000 projects at once. I worked on one. Then I worked on two. Then I worked on... I'm not going to go through my whole superhero origin story, but I have been writing seriously since I was 19, so this is over a decade of practicing, training, finding out what works for me, and you need to do that too. It's not going to happen overnight, and most writers realize by this point, hopefully, that writing is not quick. Writing a book is slow. Editing a book is slow. Everything that goes along with writing is slow, arduous work. But if you're passionate about it, it's also fun work. And I believe one of the best ways to improve yourself as a writer is to improve yourself as a worker. These tips may not work for you, and that's okay. Everyone needs to find their own style. But if you are having trouble concentrating or fighting your way through the block, then it certainly won't hurt to try. Change your physical location. If you're in your office, writing hut, alcove, whatever, and you get stuck, go to the living room, go to the dining room, go to a restaurant or a bar or a park. Surround yourself with people and conversations, and everybody has their own little different stories. I know it's not always so nice to eavesdrop, but I tell you, man, there are a lot of characters out there, and they will get those creative juices flowing, I guarantee. Most important to remember is to stay calm. Just trust that you're going to be able to work through it. The words will come, and you can do that by changing your location, playing around, talking to people. Go sit naked in your bathtub and write for a while. Hey, maybe that'll come up with a new story idea for you. Who knows? Consciousness found its way through oblivion, like the morning sun breaking through a nightmare. His hearing returned. Before his... No! She walks her booty out of sight. With wiggle bounce and fleshy flounce, the best of butts sways left and right. A luscious ass packed with each ounce. She lures me in with heavy light and dark of night. Shit. What rhymes with ounce? Flounce. No, I used flounce. Ah, my chest hurts. Why does my chest hurt? Oh my god, I'm blind. Writer's block made me blind.
Hello, Ranger. Fancy putting a ring on me finger?
To sum up this segment of Fuck the Block, Number one, please stop believing in writer's block. I'm not saying it to insult you. I'm not saying to undermine your creativity. I'm doing it to bolster your creativity. You are worth more than an imaginary excuse. Your brain is a big, beautiful ball of stories waiting to happen. Is it a ball? Do not wait for inspiration. Make it happen. It is in your control. I promise you, and you will feel so much better and so much more confident if you just stop using writer's block as an excuse. When you do get stuck, try changing your location from your normal writing spot to the living room, bedroom, restaurant, bar, anywhere. Anything that's going to get you invigorated and smiley and excited for writing again. Because this is supposed to be fun. Even though it seems like it's the most strenuous, torturous, poorest existence in the world, we do it because it's fun, because it fills us with joy to create stories that entertain people. So just remember, through all of the blank pages and swamp ass and tiny paychecks and frickin' brain burn from staring at a computer for 16 hours because writers don't clock out, that you got into this for the joy. And stressing about something like writer's block, it's taking away your joy page by blank page. And please don't let it do that. You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your writing, and you owe it to me because I want to read your books, man. Shit. We've reached the Q&A segment of Broadcast from the McUniverse. It's going to be a quick one today. I just got a couple of questions. I'm going to dive right into it. So, Q&A. The first question comes from Chad Clark, one of my favorite Inky cohorts, and he says, conventional wisdom, which is frequently passed along to new writers, is to pick a genre you like and stick with it. That authors who jump into different genres run the risk of confusing their audience. Since you seem to have spread your wings to a number of different genres, I was curious what your experience has been in terms of your audience. Do you find that your readers pretty much stick with all your books, or does it seem like you have defined groups that stick with certain genres of your work? It's a very good question, and it's kind of hard to answer when I don't get a huge amount of feedback from my readers, save from reviews and posts here and there. I find, though, that a lot of people will venture into some of my other worlds. I know a bunch of people that don't usually read young adult, and they started reading the Darla Decker Diaries and have been very pleased with it. I think as a writer, you definitely have to come up with your voice and your writing style, and even though you can kind of tweak it when you go from genre to genre, you're always you. Someone can read Darla Decker and read Pins, which are two on different sides of the spectrum, and be like, okay, this is a Jessica McHugh book. It's about owning your style and your voice, and just trusting that the readers will follow you wherever you want to lead them. And if they don't, that's cool. If they do, that's awesome. But I don't expect everybody to read every genre I write in. I like to say, because I write in so many different genres, that you can look at my catalog of books and find at least one that you're going to dig. And then if you dig that, then maybe you'd be willing to venture out of your comfort zone a little bit. Yeah, man, and if conventional wisdom is to stick with a genre for the rest of your life, fuck conventional wisdom. What fun is that? I mean, I guess you can have fun just writing the same thing over and over, and more power to you. I personally don't. I love to write different things, which is while I'm writing, Darla Decker Diaries, that series that is like 9 books, I have to keep working on something else, or I might go a little young adult crazy. Next question. So thank you, Chad. Next question is from Gina Duke McCune. What do you do when you're in the middle of one story and another story just won't shut the hell up? Do you put the first one aside or make the new one wait? It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts too, Gina. But it happens all the time. All the time it happens. I will, if I'm writing a story and another story idea pops up, I will immediately write that idea down, and I'll set it aside for later, but not too far. I mean, I might work on it later that night. I don't focus on just one story for a month and then once that is done, move on to the next story idea. If I did, I would get no shit done. I work on probably an average of 6 different stories a day, including short stories and novels and poetry, plays. I'm not going to be actively writing something, get an idea, and be like, oh, fuck this! Ah, new idea! Because then I'd just be Ryan Murphy. Sorry, Ryan Murphy, but you have a case of the too many ideas syndrome way worse than I do. Because the thing is, if I'm working on a novel, say I'm working on Darla Decker, and then there's this bright new shiny idea, well, the bright new shiny idea might be exciting and wonderful, and I will get to it probably within a couple hours, but I also have a responsibility to the people that are still invested in the old idea. It's like you can't just start something strong and be like, oh, over here, and let the old thing fizzle out. It just doesn't work. It's dumb. It's not cool to your readers, and it's really not healthy for your writing life or your brain. You need to accomplish things, you need to finish things, and then you can celebrate that. And the more you celebrate your accomplishments, the more you will want to create more stories to completion. It's not good having a whole bunch of stories hanging out in the middle of being finished. So at this point you're probably thinking, but Jessica, you just said you work on 6 things at once. Surely all of those projects are then works in progress. You're not finishing 6 things a day. And it's true. I'm not. But like I said before, with training and practice, I'm able to compartmentalize each story, and I know where every story is in the process. And that's something I've just taught myself over time. I also keep track on stuff on my board up here. So I know what stage things are. Woohoo! So versus a villainy, it's still in editing. I can just find the binder really quickly and turn to the page I left off in. So this needs to be typed up. Whoops, sorry, I can't see it. T means typed. That means that it is currently handwritten in a notebook and I need to type it up, edit, format. This hasn't been written yet, so I gotta write that. It's about planning and organization, accountability, completion, and celebration. So when you're working on something and you get that bright, shiny idea, certainly write it down. Do not lose it. But also remember that you have an obligation to finish the works that are already in your queue. If you feel like you can take on a new project, more power to you. Especially if it's a short project. Sorry, my thing is telling me to dance. Another important part of writing, exercise. Gotta do that, huh? You just have to get to know your write life and who you are as a writer and what you're capable of. So thank you for the question, Gina. Thank you, Chad. Please go check out Chad's website. And please consider submitting a question for the next episode of Broadcast from the McUniverse. I have often been dubbed an old school writer because I still write with pens and paper. I write all of my first drafts in notebooks and then type them up. And a lot of people think that is madness. To me, it really just makes the most sense. Words come faster when I have a pen in hand. And as you can see, I'm not very good at improving. So that's kind of what my writing is like when I'm just staring at a blank computer screen. It's just the big, beautiful brain ball. I used to edit all of my stories in binders. I'd print out the novel, edit it by hand, type in all the corrections, which I affectionately call stabbing the alphabet, and lather, rinse, repeat. I taught myself to stop doing that last year for most of my stories. So now I am editing most of my novels on the computer. Just goes to show you, old bitches can learn new tricks. So never stop learning and testing yourself and finding out what works best for you and your process. But I do miss my pens. I miss my pens and my paper, and I miss being curled up on the couch with my binder. It feels like a big story hug when I have my binder. And when I'm at the computer, I'm just like old typity crone. So I'm going to celebrate my love of pens and finish off today with a good old-fashioned pen shower. I love you, pens. Pen shower! Whee! Ow! 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 Fuck you, pens. Thank you so much for spending another episode of Broadcasts from the McUniverse with me. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I'm gonna ramble. That's gonna happen. Sorry. If you can't tell, I'm loud and loquacious, and that's just a thing. I am Jessica McHugh, novelist, poet, playwright, weirdo, smiley pie. I'm on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Just Google the shit out of me and I will be there. I'm on Twitter at thejessmchugh.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/author.jessicamchugh. I have websites, jessicamchughnbooks.com and McUniverse.com. Please feel free to ask me any questions. Please submit some flash stories for my next episode. I want to do the segment, what the fuck is wrong with my story? So submit any stories under 800 words that you're having trouble selling, and I will read it blind. Oh no, I'm really going to be blind on the next episode. Thank you again so much, you guys. It's been a blast.